When people talk about books that change their lives, they often mean books that give them answers, clear instructions, strong opinions, a system to follow. But what I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey does something very different. It doesn't tell you how to live your life. It doesn't give you rules. It doesn't promise quick fixes. Instead, it quietly invites you to sit down, slow your thoughts, and listen. This book speaks the way a trusted voice speaks when you are tired, uncertain, or searching. It doesn't shout, it doesn't rush. It simply says, "Here is what life has taught me so far." And that is exactly how the book explains its ideas. From the very beginning, Oprah makes it clear that these reflections are not absolute truths for everyone. They are truths she has come to know through experience. The title itself, What I Know for Sure, is important. She is not saying this is what everyone must believe. She is saying this is what has proven itself true in her own life, again and again, through joy, through pain, through success, and through loss. That tone sets the foundation for the entire book. It creates a feeling of honesty and humility. You don't feel talked down to, you feel spoken with. One of the main ways the book explains its ideas is through personal stories. Oprah does not teach through theory. She teaches through moments. She shares memories from her childhood, stories from her career, conversations she has had, and quiet realizations she has come to while sitting alone. These stories are often simple. They are not always dramatic. Sometimes they are just small observations. But that is exactly the point. She shows that wisdom does not only come from big life events, it comes from paying attention. When Oprah talks about joy, she doesn't define it in a dictionary way. She talks about noticing joy in ordinary moments. She talks about laughter, silence, nature, and gratitude. She explains joy by showing how it feels when you allow yourself to notice what is already good. She explains it by sharing how her life changed when she stopped chasing happiness and started recognizing it. The idea becomes clear not because she explains it intellectually, but because she lets you feel it emotionally. Another important way the book communicates its ideas is through repetition. Oprah returns to the same themes again and again: gratitude, self-trust, presence, authenticity, resilience. At first, you might think she is repeating herself, but as you continue reading, you realize something important. These are not ideas you learn once and move on from. These are ideas you practice every day. By repeating them in different stories and reflections, Oprah shows that growth is not linear. You don't learn a lesson once and master it forever. You return to it, you forget it, you relearn it, you deepen your understanding over time. The book also explains its ideas through emotional honesty. Oprah does not present herself as someone who has it all figured out. Even though she is one of the most successful people in the world, she talks openly about fear, doubt, and insecurity. She talks about moments when she questioned herself, moments when she felt lost, and moments when she struggled to trust her own voice. This honesty is powerful because it removes the distance between the reader and the author. You don't feel like you're listening to someone on a pedestal. You feel like you are listening to a human being. By sharing her struggles, Oprah explains that strength does not come from avoiding pain. It comes from facing it. She shows that resilience is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about allowing yourself to feel what you feel and still choosing to move forward. The lesson is not stated directly. It is lived through her words. Another key way the book explains its ideas is by avoiding clear resolutions. Many of the reflections do not end with a strong conclusion or a final answer. Instead, they end with a realization, a moment of clarity, a truth that feels solid for now. This mirrors real life. In life, we rarely get perfect endings. We get understanding in pieces. Oprah respects that. She allows her reflections to remain open, just like the experiences they come from. This approach teaches the reader something important. You do not need to have everything figured out to live well. You only need to be honest with yourself about where you are right now. The book explains that certainty does not come from knowing the future. It comes from trusting yourself in the present. The language of the book is also an important part of how it explains its ideas. Oprah uses simple, clear, and warm language. She does not use complicated terms or academic explanations. She speaks the way people speak when they are being real. This makes the ideas accessible. You don't feel like you need special knowledge to understand them. You feel like you already know them somewhere deep inside, and the book is simply reminding you. Spirituality is another area where the book's approach matters. Oprah talks about spirituality often, but she doesn't frame it in a strict religious way. She speaks about intuition, inner knowing, purpose, and awe. These ideas are explained through feeling rather than belief. She does not ask the reader to follow a specific path. She asks the reader to pay attention to what feels true to them. In this way, spirituality becomes something personal and grounded, not distant or abstract. The structure of the book also helps explain its ideas. The reflections are grouped into themes like joy, gratitude, resilience, and power. This allows the reader to see how one idea connects to many parts of life. Gratitude is not just something you feel when things go well, it is how it shapes how you respond to difficulty. Power is not about control over others, it is about clarity, boundaries, and self-respect. By revisiting these themes from different angles, the book deepens the reader's understanding without overwhelming them. One of the most important ideas the book explains is the idea of self-trust. Oprah talks about learning to listen to her inner voice and honor it. She explains this idea by sharing moments when she ignored her intuition and paid the price, and moments when she followed it and felt aligned. Through these stories, the reader learns that self-trust is not something you are born with. It's something you build by listening to yourself and respecting your own truth. The book also explains the idea of intentional living. Oprah emphasizes that you have a choice in how you show up in your life. She talks about saying no, setting boundaries, and choosing what deserves your energy. These ideas are explained not as rigid rules, but as acts of self-respect. The message is clear. You teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Presence is another idea that runs quietly throughout the entire book. Oprah explains presence by showing how life feels when you are fully there. She talks about moments of stillness, silence, and awareness. She explains that peace often comes when you stop rushing ahead and start noticing where you are. Again, this is not explained in a technical way. It is explained through lived experience. What makes What I Know for Sure unique is that it doesn't try to change the reader. It trusts the reader. It assumes that you already have wisdom inside you. The book simply holds up a mirror. As you read Oprah's reflections, you begin to reflect on your own life, your own choices, your own patterns. That is how the book teaches. It invites rather than instructs. The overall feeling of the book is gentle but firm. Oprah is kind, but she is also clear. She does not avoid hard truths. She talks about responsibility, growth, and self-awareness, but she does so with compassion. She understands that becoming your best self is a process, not a performance. By the time you reach the end of the book, you may not remember every story, but you will remember how it made you feel. You will feel calmer, more grounded, more connected to yourself. And that is the real lesson. The book explains its ideas by helping you experience them, not just understand them. In the end, What I Know for Sure is not about Oprah's life. It's about your life. Oprah uses her experiences as a starting point, but the journey always leads back to the reader. That is why the book resonates with so many people. It doesn't give you answers. It helps you hear your own. And that is what makes this book powerful, not because it tells you what to believe, but because it reminds you to trust what you already know. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more thoughtful content like this about books, ideas, and personal growth, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps support the work, and it means you won't miss future videos like this one. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.